3 more episodes of the Harry and Meghan Netflix series has dropped overnight. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex detailing a miscarriage they endured. Harry also opening up about his relationship with his brother, while Meghan reveals her struggles with suicidal thoughts. I want to bring in now CNN's Max Foster, our royal correspondent. He's joining us at CNN this morning from London. Thank you, Max. What are the big takeaways, and what do you expect the response from the royal family will be?
Well, it really was an extraordinary insight behind the scenes as to why Meghan and Harry decided to leave. Also, a very unusual insight behind palace walls about how things work there. Effectively, Harry and Meghan accusing the rest of the family of becoming jealous of them, then working against them, briefing against them, to the point where Meghan had suicidal thoughts. So a very compelling story, very much from Harry and Meghan's point of view. This is where it culminates, really, a showdown at the Queen's Sandringham estate between Harry, William, Charles and the Queen, where Harry outlines his plan to leave the royal family but still to continue, to some extent, with the royal role.
Who's that?
And they'll be trying to come up with a blueprint for the way forward.
I went in with the same proposal that we'd already, made publicly. But once I got there, I was given 5 options. 1 being all in, no change, 5 being all out. I chose option 3 in the meeting, half in, half out. Have our own jobs, but also work in support of the Queen. But it became very clear very quickly that that goal was not up for discussion or debate. It was terrifying to have my brother scream and shout at me and my father say things that just simply weren't true, and my grandmother, quietly sit there and sort of take it all in.
I know I said I expected a palace response. They just said they're not going to be giving a response. Instead, the family is going to continue with a long-planned engagement today, Don.
All right, Max Foster, our royal correspondent, thank you very much. We'll be checking in with him to see what the response is. Joining me now to discuss, CNN contributor Trisha Goddard, royal watcher and host of When Meghan Met Harry, Kristen Meinzer, and CNN international anchor Zain Asher. Good morning.
Good morning.
Trisha, we're talking about this. So what if what if, okay, watching. What if they had just said, okay, we're all in, and stayed, but still said their piece and said, I dare you to kick me out, but I'm going to speak my mind about this family as I work. What would happen?
You don't understand Brits. You don't understand British. I don't think they could deal with, Meghan obviously talks about her mental health. I don't think it was an option staying there. And you can't just talk out. If you are all in, you follow the protocol. You've still got, people managing you, what you can and can't say, who you can and can't see, and what have you. So they wouldn't have had that freedom. They wouldn't not be able to have their freedom. They've got the most freedom they're ever going to get in the situation they're in now.
Zain, you watched all 3 episodes from 3 a.m. this morning. But good for you, because our viewers...
Do you like some of my coffee?
Yeah. Our viewers definitely haven't had likely seen them all yet, and this was very emotional for you to watch.
It was. Yeah. I mean, I've got to be honest, I actually cried watching this. I just think that after watching this, the prayer should never be, dear God, please let me marry into the British royal family. The prayer should be, dear God, please let me survive marrying into the British royal family. To marry into this family and to survive it psychologically, to survive it emotionally and spiritually, you have to be made of something else. And I just think that Meghan talks about this parasitic relationship that exists between her and the British press. It needs to be addressed. I think we need to have a very mature discussion going on.
Yeah, I just want to play it because I want you to talk about it, but there is a soundbite where she talks about being fed to the wolves, and then you can finish talking. I think it sets up what you're talking about.
It was already clear to the media that the palace wasn't going to protect her. Once that happens, the floodgates open.
And I realized that I wasn't just being thrown to the wolves, I was being fed to the wolves.
Yeah. It's funny. I was, before watching the documentary, I was having this conversation about it with my husband last night about the British tabloid press. And he sort of said to me, he's American, and he's like, oh, well, isn't it just the same as the New York Post?
Oh, God, no.
It's not. I think Americans need to understand there is a big difference between the American tabloids and the British tabloids. The British tabloids are venomous. They are a particular strain of just, you know.
I do know.
It's
I do
awful.
know.
And the thing about the American tabloids is that, you know, they'll hound you and then the next story will come along and they'll be distracted and they'll turn their attention elsewhere. The British tabloids, they will not stop. They will not stop until they destroy you.
But
and
it's
that is
some
what
of them. It's
Meghan
only-
Markle has dealt with for
But
the
it's
past
only
5 years.
we have to be fair. It's not all of them. It's some of them, and to differing degrees. And if you sue them, and if you sue them successfully, if you lay down and take it, and I think that's Harry says that. Yeah, if you lay down and take whatever they have to say about you and suck it up, and that seems to have been the royal family sort of mantra up until now with other wives, because it is when women come in that they get this sort of treatment. If you lay down, suck it up, and deal with it, then hopefully it will go away. Diana didn't do that, and you can see that play out with Harry, and neither have Meghan and Harry done that. And once you fight back, once you say, I'm not going to take it anymore, once you sue them, and if you do it successfully, you are done. They are going to hammer you into the floor.
Well, and on that note, Kristen, you know, we did just, Buckingham Palace says they're not going to comment on this. They said that previously, they just said it again. We'll see if they comment, you know, not officially on it. One thing that Harry said in this that stuck out to me was he compared it to essentially saying the reason they were especially venomous to her is that she's supposed to be the supporting act if you're marrying into the family, but she ended up getting a lot of the limelight. And when I was going over to the Queen's funeral, I read the Palace Papers book, and it said the same thing about Diana, that they were upset because she wasn't actually a member of the royal family, but she was getting all of the attention.
Exactly. And not coincidentally, also happened during their tour of the South Pacific of Australia. This is what happened to Diana, young bride, suddenly an international celebrity. Same thing happened with Meghan. And the documentary says very clearly that the British tabloid press had a cooperative relationship with the firm, and the firm would plant stories to overshadow, to sully Meghan's name, and also to draw more attention away from their own misdeeds, their own negative stories that were happening with other members of the senior royals. Other senior royals, if something scandalous was happening with them, oh, now is a good time to plant a story about Meghan being horrible. They talk very frankly about that in this documentary series.
It's interesting that, we touch on Princess Diana. Princess Diana came from one of the most aristocratic families England has ever known. I mean, she was a Spencer. So much so that people would joke that Prince Charles was actually marrying up by marrying Princess Diana. And even she had a hard time fitting in. So you can imagine...
Yeah, because of AIDS, the mines, AIDS, these weren't things that royals had done up until that point. She broke a mould in many ways. What we saw in the first of these documentaries with Harry and Meghan is how Meghan got so involved with the victims of the Grenfell fire disaster, which was awful. It's a really impoverished area. Nobody else actually went there. And she was going there without the press knowing for quite some time. That's another mould broken. And you don't do that easily.
Trisha Goddard, is it a bigger impact what they're doing now, or if they had stayed and duked it out, no pun intended, inside the royal family? Where can they make a bigger change doing this, or if they had just stayed and said, I'm going to stay in this and I'm going to...
It wasn't sustainable. Not with our... You see, you're thinking...
No, I'm asking you the question.
No, with the British tabloids, once they'd done one lawsuit, they couldn't stay there.
But my question is, so it's a bigger impact now, what they're doing with the Netflix and the publicity they're getting.
He's saying that he believes that they've lost some of their influence, right?
No, I'm wondering. I don't know.
Let me tell
I'm wondering
you what
if they can make more change by what they're doing now, if they get more eyes.
Yeah.
Or by staying in the royal family.
Here's the thing, and Harry says that in episode 4. He actually says, that weird synergy or the weird relationship between the royals and the tabloids. He said someone needs to challenge it. He said to his father at one stage, and his father just said, King Charles just said, the media's the media. He is the first one really taking it on, and he's doing it for Diana. He's doing it for himself. This is what this whole thing's about. It's about the Palace comms team, and it is that vicious part of the media. Is he doing a service?
I would also add that what they are allowed to say when they are official members of the firm, they're not really you know, they're not allowed to talk about racism. They're not allowed to talk about misogyny. They're not allowed to talk about colonialism, about slavery, about the monarchy's role in slavery. And all of these are things that they can talk about now and that they actually talk about in their documentary.